Thanks for coming back to my channel, and today we're going to take a look at the Fenix RC11 as a single 18650 light with a maximum output of 1000 lumens. And do a quick look at the box here. And you can see the different modes there. And if you're noticing the start by the turbo time, that's because it powers down to the a lower level at about 5 minutes, I think it is. And if you notice the length there, right about at 4.5 inches long. And for me, that's about as long as I want to go with anything I would call an everyday carry light. What comes in the box? Well, there's the box that we just saw there. It came with a 2600 milliamp battery installed. These are just two AA's I put out just so you can see the basic size, how big it is. And it came with the belt pouch here, a little baggie with extra lanyard and O-ring, extra O-ring and a lanyard, and a charging cable. So an advantage of buying one of these lights in the RC series would be you can get the higher output batteries, in this case an 18650. In case of the RC05, it would be a 14500 battery. And if you don't already have a charger, you don't have to buy a separate charger because you can just charge them on the light. And we'll get to that in a minute here. Just to help people out, because pretty much every one of these lights that I'm seeing and I read reviews on, people say it doesn't work. And it turns out the reason it doesn't work is because there's a little insulation disc inside by the battery there. And Fenix uses little black ones that looks like some type of plastic or mylar material to me. So that will be inside the light, shielding the battery from hitting the contacts, and it's not draining the battery down, so there's no actual current flowing through the light at the time. And it's just a typical Fenix lanyard in here. It's a flat one, and I really don't like their lanyards, and with their Velcro on their pouches, it always gets stuck on there. This is a typical Fenix belt pouch, very thin belt loop. I didn't measure it, but you can probably fit a 2-inch belt through there, maybe wider. On the plus side, the Velcro is pretty aggressive, so it's strong, it'll hold better. And you can see I have not really used this because I already know I don't like Fenix's belt pouches. But if you do want to use it, if it's in there good without a lot of play. And we'll get rid of that guy. Now, I said one of the advantages is that you don't have to buy a separate charger. Got a battery pack here just to demonstrate. I really think more people should probably carry battery packs, but that's not what this is about. So the way you charge this is this USB cable came with the light, and you can see that circle there, and that's the light. And this side here is magnetic, and it connects to this side here. So there's your power switch. Directly opposite of the power switch, this magnetic charging port. Gonna turn this on. And flashing green means it's charging. I was playing with it for a minute before I started recording this. And then when it gets fully charged, it'll just turn a solid green. So you can just charge it like that. Going through basic run modes here. We've got powered on. It's an electronic switch, it's not mechanical, so you do have to hold it on for just a moment. And so that it's actually not just a 3 or 4 mode. It's is it 5 modes, I guess? Yeah, 5. So 6 if you count strobe. So you get your eco. There's a good, before we start getting crazy bright with stuff, there's a good shot of the beam pattern. And there you can see the spill, how much spill it is. So this is about 3 feet off, and you can see the spill goes beyond. So yeah, that's way brighter than we need to have on camera there. And just so you can see the strobe pattern, sorry, it does do the alternating pattern thing. and then to turn it off, it's still just the single switch. You have to hold it for a second. When you are turning it off, be careful, because if you keep holding it, you go into strobe again. So just turn it off. It does have a lockout feature. You hit the side switch 2 times, and that blink means it's locked out. You hit it once and try and turn it on, it blinks. Hold it and try and get strobe, it blinks. You have to hit it 2 more times again, and that takes it out. So I actually really like this. Like I said, this is the outside size limit for me for something I would call everyday carry. It does have a good spread of modes though. It looks like the eco is about 10. This is according to Fenix. I don't have a way to measure it myself. The low is 50 lumens, the mid is 150, high 500, and turbo is 1000. And it says turbo 1 hour and 20 minutes with an asterisk. And again, it will power down to a lower mode at about 5 minutes. 500 lumens, 2 hours 50 minutes. 150 lumens for 11 hours and 10 minutes. Low is 29 hours 30 minutes. And eco is 135 hours. So that's a pretty significant amount of light for a pretty significant amount of time on those lower settings. It does not have a sub lumen or even sub 5 lumen level. I would consider that downsized, but you're getting a lot in the package. So here's the RC11. You can see very similar design there. Practically the same design, just smaller light. Physical differences aside from the size, you'll notice the tail caps are different. Well, you got the Fenix RC11 there, and you got the magnetic tail cap. Works pretty well. Used it on a car hood, and I've used it on a garage door pointing out to shine in a garage, car hood pointing down so I could check my oil. Really like it. And this one does not have a magnetic tail cap. Now that is my fault, not Fenix's fault, because I went back in their site and I looked again, and it does not actually say that this one has a magnetic tail cap. So that is my fault. However, if you can see this hollow part around here, why would you either not additionally have at least an option for a switch? Okay, maybe that would make it longer. But if you have this hollow ring here, why wouldn't you just fill it in with a magnet and keep your, I mean, it's the same line of lights. Why wouldn't you just keep that form going? Why would you change that? I really don't understand that. And it was my fault again, but I was really disappointed when I saw that. Now that aside, how is this for an everyday carry light? Well, 1000 lumens, it's going to be bright enough for most people to do whatever they're doing, work, play, whatever. And with the run times, it's more than ample run time for pretty much everybody, I would think. You get the nice smooth reflector in there. It's the size, I mean, you can see how it fits in the hand. I wear large size gloves, so I don't have giant hands or anything, but it's easy. A lot of people don't like the side switches. Well, if you're right-handed, you carry it on your right side, guess what? There's a pocket clip. If you leave that in there, you just get used to where you grab it, and you just get used to where the button is. And of course, it does have the hot warning. It does get pretty warm if you keep trying to run it in turbo. It doesn't take long because this is not a very big light for the amount of juice that it's running through it. So overall, I really like this. For an everyday carry light, I never used to care, but now that I've had lights that do have a under 5 lumen setting, and more specifically an under 1 lumen setting, I've really developed a strong preference for that. That said, I do carry this on occasion. I carry the RC11 quite a bit too. A smaller size, obviously it's easier to carry. But the cable is interchangeable, the charging cable for it. So if you wanted to carry both of these, or you're with somebody and you each have one of them, the same cable will work on both. And it's the same deal as with the RC11. The end is micro USB, so you can charge anything that's micro USB with the same cable. So if you're doing something, as I discussed before with the RC11 video, you can use this one cable, and depending on what you're using, I have one Bluetooth headset, and you know, most people's smartphones I think now are still micro USB. A lot of them are going to be moving to USB-C, but for now they're still micro USB. And you get your tablets and all this other stuff, and you can run it all off of the one cable. If you think you're going to need to charge a lot of stuff, you're probably going to want more than one cable, but the ability to have just the one cable and keep not just all your other stuff, but you can keep your flashlight battery fresh. It cuts down on clutter when you're traveling. Even if you're just going about a local commute, whatever, you have your work bag, it really helps cut down on clutter, and I find it to be very useful. It's a great light overall. I've dropped it a few times, didn't have any problems. The only thing I did have was setting it down here. It would flicker, but it doesn't do it anymore. I don't know what the deal is, but I've dropped it a few times and didn't have any problems with it turning on and off. I did actually submerge it in several inches of water, and there was no problem with waterproofing on it. And before I forget it again, you can take the pocket clip off. It's just a slide on there. I'm not going to do it now because I usually end up pitching a finger and saying some things you're probably not supposed to say on YouTube on here. Alright, so, and I also have this guy here, Thrunite Neutron 2C, and I will be getting to that for a review. But if you're looking at both of these, similar functionality, you can see there is a size difference there. The Thrunite is significantly larger. Width is about the same though. This one is more of a flat tail cap. Instead of magnetic USB, it's a USB plug. And again, I've submerged it, but I'll get to a review of that one at another time. I wanted to get this one in here. I've seen some people have started to review it a little bit, but the RC series doesn't seem to be getting as much love as some of the other light series, which is too bad because it's actually a pretty good line of lights. So if you're looking for something that's reliable, you don't mind just having a side switch, and you don't require having a tail switch or a magnetic tail or a 5 lumen or under 5 lumen or sub 1 lumen light level. This is a good functional light, and it is just small enough. If you're going to throw it in your jeans and you want to clip it on your pocket, it will clip on your pocket without interfering how you're walking or bending over or squatting down as you go about your daily business. And this is a good choice, and I am not sorry that I bought it. Thanks for watching. Leave any questions or comments below, and come back. Okay, so earlier I couldn't find my notes. Now I found my notes that I did when I was doing testing, and I charged the battery in the light, and I have a individual battery charger that gives a percentage readout, and in the light it charged up to 98%. That's with the included battery. And to test for time, I put it into turbo 5 times. So I'd put it in a turbo, it'd step down, let it cool down for a minute or two, and then put it back in a turbo. And at an hour and 30 minutes it would not go back into turbo again. At 2 hours and 12 minutes it gave me the low warning flash, so it'll just flash every, I think it's every 2 minutes. It might be 5, I think it's 2 though. And at that point it would only go as high as medium. At 2 hours and 16 minutes it would only go into low, so this one has eco and then low. And then at 2 hours and 27 minutes it would only go into eco. And at 3 hours and 37 minutes it was still in eco, but it actually powered itself off. And putting it in my battery charger, it read 1% at that point. Now, starting it just in the high mode, or in turbo, and then letting it go on its own, at 2 hours and 7 minutes, it would only go into medium. 2 hours and 12 minutes, I got the low battery flash again. 2 hours and 15 minutes, it would only go into low. 2 hours and 36 minutes, it would only go into eco. And then at 4 hours, it actually powered itself off. So what I'm saying, it has a pretty ample run times for most people. That's more specifically what I'm talking about. Okay, so earlier I couldn't find my notes. Now I found my notes that I did when I was doing testing. And I charged the battery in the light, and I have a individual battery charger that gives a percentage readout, and in the light it charged up to 98%. That's with the included battery. And to test for time, I put it into turbo 5 times. So I'd put it in a turbo, it'd step down, let it cool down for a minute or two, and then put it back in a turbo. And at an hour and 30 minutes, it would not go back into turbo again. At 2 hours and 12 minutes, it gave me the low warning flash. So it'll just flash every, I think it's every 2 minutes. It might be 5, I think it's 2 though. And at that point it would only go as high as medium. At 2 hours and 16 minutes it would only go into low. So this one has eco and then low. And then at 2 hours and 27 minutes it would only go into eco. And at 3 hours and 37 minutes, it was still in eco, but it actually powered itself off. And putting it in my battery charger, it read 1% at that point. Now, starting it just in the high mode, or in turbo, and then letting it go on its own, at 2 hours and 7 minutes, it would only go into medium. 2 hours and 12 minutes, I got the low battery flash again. 2 hours and 15 minutes, it would only go into low. 2 hours and 36 minutes, it would only go into eco. And then at 4 hours, it actually powered itself off. So what I'm saying, it has a pretty ample run times for most people. That's more specifically what I'm talking about.